Hey, what's happening? So good to see everyone. Thank you for, being here. It's a joy and a pleasure, and kind of missed y'all yesterday. But at this time yesterday, I was busy behind a chainsaw. So, you know, this is a much cooler place to be at. I just got to tell you. So I'll take it for what I can get it. And I hope everyone did well. And there I am, just my bright, shining face. Hey, dude, you're looking good. Man, it's like meeting yourself coming and going. That's hallway sex. But anyway, what's up? K-Town, what's up? Purgatory Traveler. Interesting about your friend with the Security Allman Brothers band. They were like my third or fourth concert that I actually was like right there. In fact, I was leaning on the stage, and Wayne Allman, I mean, he was like an arm length and a half away. But yeah, we got our memories, baby. That's all I got to say. But thank you for that, K-Town, and welcome everybody. Hello, all the moderators and everybody else lost in space. What's up? Hey, Gilbert, got your message late. But anyway, let me just speak favor over us all, and then I'll impart the perfection, nothing missing, nothing broken. Hey, that's like in a state of perpetual perfectness. I can dig that. Anyway, Mary Wins, how are you doing? Truth Seeker, hello. Tone, what's up? Good to see you all. Let's see. Jargo, hello. Man, a lot of other people in here. Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. Hey, Bosto too, and be of service to others. So I hated to, postpone yesterday's show, but we'll get that panel back together, Nina and JD and Rurik. So yeah, looking forward to that. Lori, what's up? Good to see you. Gilbert as well. Barbara, how are you doing? Much love to you. Morgan, hello, what's up? I saw Gaia in there earlier. Gail, good to see you as well. So nothing, as they would say, if it's your birthday, happy birthday, anniversary. Hey, live it to its fullest. If you, like myself, love chocolate. In fact, I could say I was probably, beyond the novice. Wouldn't say, well, maybe close to expert. But anyway, how you can tell the subtle differences. Yeah. That's how you have to look at each moment in your life. Each one has that subtle difference. It may feel like the same, but think about it. That second that just passed, you also aged. You probably lost how many cells? I mean, the whole bit. Like the person who wrote and said that, atom, atom, and we are in fact composed of atoms. And those atoms, man, they can just, you never trust them. They make up everything. Yeah. And so if that's the case, I believe thought is, well, are thoughts atoms? Is there something above an atom? Oh, this is going to parlay right into what we're talking about today. And listen, I get it, folks, that this is not, the, rah, rah, hooray, thanks for hitting the like button. Me, feed the machine, I don't bring any commercials here, so hit the like button, yeah. But sometimes we just got to grin it and bear it and say, all right, better to have been at least informed than to be smacked, and it's like, bam, where the freak did that come out of? Because let me tell you, hey, Paul Joe, what's up? Good to see you as well. Nick, bravo, how you doing? Every time I think of your name, Nick, I always think of Fire Sign Theater, Nick Danger, Third Eye. If you've never listened to Fire Sign Theater, may I suggest you get comfortable, Get into that place where your mind, the right side is creating and imagination is flowing, and then listen to Fire Sign Theater. I think that one is, which one is that? How can you be in two places at once when you're at no place at all? Something else. Anyway, I digress. William, what's up? At an appointed time. Yeah. Looks like we may be there. So without further ado, I really want to get into this because, this is not fear porn. It's not fear mongering. I mean, if that's the case, you could take this. Think about when you were back in school. And, let's say you had calculus. Now, the teacher that I had, I mean, that dude, which I used to think was, that son of a bitch. But actually, he was really a very caring person. I mean, mathematics, it's a language. It's probably the first language. If there are, in fact, alien races, that is how we would have a basis of understanding and communication is mathematics. But anyway, I digress. So it's like, there's going to be a test. You know it. And so when we got to talk about subjects like this, hey, take it for what it's worth. Don't be afraid. Say, all right, if this is what this is what the machine, the architect, or techs, I don't know, have planned, well, screw them. I mean, if this is the best they got, this is the very worst that they got. Their very worst is not even close to my 10th very best. They're so far down on the list. But I was a Boy Scout and did not make it to Eagle, did get to Life Scout. But, one thing scouting taught us was that is to be prepared. We went out and did the Outward Bound Challenge. That was pretty cool. It's a survival situation, but you find out that as harsh as nature can seem, she yields virtually everything you need, no matter what environment you're in. So anyway, hey, Nina, how you doing, my love? Good to see you. See you next Wednesday for sure. And we're going to get some of the guest you had suggested. I'm looking into that. But eyes to see. Marie, how are you? Good to see you as well. London McLovin, what's up? That's cool. So anyway, it's also one of those things that you carry with you and say, okay. I mean, today, so much of it is Bolshevik, and it's hard sometimes to sift through it all. But in the midst of all that, there's apparently a reason for it. Keeps us preoccupied, distracted. The only problem is eventually you reach critical mass. And once you reach that, I mean, you can't undo what has been done. There's going to be a reaction to the action. And so don't let the distraction keep you from the action. I'd be a poet and not know it. Hey, Big Daddy, what's up? So, I'm out there cutting limbs, and it's a good place to meditate. It is. Hard work is really a form of meditation. And it occurred to me that I've had the same reoccurring vision, and my wife doesn't want me to talk about it. She just says, because it frightens her. But even with that, we had to realize that, well, something's going on. They say they can't do anything to us, meaning Homo sapiens, humanity, unless they tell us ahead of time. I find that to be true. You know, the whole 9/11 thing, do you think that that was just, like, hey, let's just see if this, the gods are looking down into the reflecting abyss, and, that's where we are, floating in above this abyss. And, they said, all right, let's see what happens. If evil lives in the heart of man, then it means that man has to show man what man is doing. Now, if evil is orchestrated by a higher intelligence or a life outside of this one, well, folks, then we're all just serfs. We're just fodder for the slaughter. It sucks. But anyway, let's get right into this, because I want to present to you a case. And then you, as the audience, tell me what your thoughts are as I present my thesis to you. And here is the title of this, is When the Unthinkable Happens. There are some things going on right now that I don't understand. In foreign policy, I don't understand. We are in the midst of an empire collapse. The United States is no longer the number one power in the world. We're barely at super status, and it's collapsing so quickly all around us. And the thing that, with what's happening now in Taiwan, I don't get why you have to poke the hornet nest. When Senator Ron Paul was in Congress, I loved his philosophy. We don't need to be the world police. We don't need to be the world superpower. Strong borders, strong defense. And his whole thing was, we shouldn't be putting our nose into other countries' business. But hey, that's the business. But we're getting the business. And again, with what the Speaker of the House is doing, I believe that when he meets the president of Taiwan, China has said, listen, and we crossed another line this week. I mean, Finland and now Sweden will be joining NATO. So Russia said, wait a minute. So you're going to extend your boundary to us by like doubling it. I don't like that. And I said, well, all right, if this are all preludes to something that could actually do the unthinkable, the use of nuclear weapons, we've lost it. We've lost it as a species. So here's my evidence. Allow me, you, the audience, thank you everyone in the chat room. Monkey Experiment, how you doing? Dave, good to see you as well. Judy, good to see you. So here we go. Just a cursory travel across the headlines. I mean, it's remarkable. So this is from insiderbusiness.com, and it says the UN has said nuclear war is back within the realm of possibility. Here are the places in the United States most likely to be hit in a nuclear attack. Now, look at the dates on this. This was written out right the day after Christmas. And it's almost saying, hey, if you pick up the signals here and you're picking up the code, you need to get these things, these antennas, they should be buzzing because something's being said here. So this is going into 2023. So the UN now has this on here. UN Secretary Antonio Guterres says it's here. Putin has said that in December that Russia may abandon its no first use military doctrine. They have. They're moving, according to the Department of Defense's easing, they're moving apparently nuclear weapons into Belarus. It says a Russian nuclear attack would likely focus in on high-value targets in North Dakota and Montana. Where did we see the balloon go over? You got it. So you get into this article, and it gets into the fact of the whole thing with the Ukraine. It's drawn NATO in. NATO is in. I mean, the reports coming out there are thousands of tanks on their way, if not already there. You have NATO countries now. Ukraine is joining NATO. I mean, so that basically means as if one member requests aid from another member of NATO, NATO is obligated to meet that request. Think about where we're going on this. We're talking about Putin here using nuclear weapons in Ukraine. The desperate move? Well, think about it. But at the same time, we got the dude in North Korea. You know, we've got these large-scale exercises going on over there in South Korea. Again, you know, and the thing with North Korea, it has always been this kind of give and take situation. But at some point, that ideology fails. And then again, so look at this. You got Ukraine, you got Taiwan, you got North Korea. I don't know if any of you know this, but China just yesterday brokered a peace deal with Saudi Arabia and Iran. Folks, this is the fall of an empire. So it goes on into this, the whole situation. It's all being set up. And regardless of how you want to take your point of view on this, the pieces are all on the table. Now, the stacking of the pieces is what we're dealing with here. And if that's the case, then this could get hairy, meaning precarious. Because if one piece falters, it collapses everything. I continue to go on. So get this. This is from, what website is this? I think this is mirasafety.com. Your Nuclear Attack Map for 2023 by Matt Collins. You can't make this shit up, folks. This is, by the way, there has been a digital war going on for, 2 decades. Yeah, and that's what it looks like. It says, anyway, it says, if you had a nuclear attack map, a guide showing exactly when and where each strike would occur before the first warhead went off, what would you do? Would it be worth it? You know when and where the bombs might first fall, and which cities, bases, and locations might be hit as secondary attacks. Folks, this is not 10 years ago. This is facts as they are today. And many have been giving deep thought to this. Now, I don't know what your position is on the balloons that went by. A lot of different talk. They appear to have been a data seeking devices on there. I don't know. But if it is, this is, you could say, these are preludes to something coming. So here is, in this article, this is again, if you should check it out. It's, whoa. All right, brutal nuclear doctrine. Chapter 2 is a nightmare plan A. There are, you go and start researching this. Holy cow, Batman. I mean, wow. Not just, let's say, a government agency. I mean, you've got corporations. I mean, someone has put either the bug in somebody's ear, because a lot of things are changing very quickly. And I was quite surprised when I went back and looked at this and said, no, wait a minute. This can't be just a coincidence. Primary attack for annihilation, 4 steps they're surviving the immediate aftermath of a nuclear attack. Practical protection for a nuclear attack, surviving the aftermath. I don't know about you. It's like this whole end of the world catastrophe thing. I mean, I'm sitting here going, why would you want to survive this? It's just me. Because, you know, they're not going to be playing episodes of the Jetsons or the Flintstones. No. There ain't going to be no video games. There ain't going to be no pads. There ain't going to be nothing. There is the doctrine, many of us have grown up with this. It's called the MAD doctrine, the mutual assured destruction. The only problem with that is that it works as long as the pieces remain static. But if they become dynamic and begin to move, your calculations, your theology, your ideology, the whole thing is off. Your strategy. It says, this is an interesting thing. It says, was robust enough to maintain a nuclear stalemate between the old USSR and America through the Cold War. I grew up through that. Many of you who are boomers, you know. But it is also simple enough for any schoolboy to understand. You shoot your nuke at me, and I'm going to shoot mine right back at you. Now, MAD drove the rapid accumulation of nuclear weapons during those years. More bombs meant more destructive power and a deterrence to keep the enemy from attacking. At the same time, both sides kept fighting for an edge that would let them skirt all annihilation, even if their opponent didn't. This leads us to the concept of the alpha strike. An alpha strike is a preemptive attack on a hostile enemy, first targeting their nuclear weapons and military assets. In theory, taking the initiative would prevent the enemy from retaliating with their entire arsenal and cut projected deaths to more acceptable levels, often still in the millions. Again, hardcore reality of our government, every government, is in these type of scenarios, there are casualties of any war. Sucks, but hey. Says the catch with the alpha strike is that it would have to be comprehensive. You'd have to wipe out most, if not all, of the enemy's weapons before they get the chance to retaliate. And since the United States and Russia leaders have their version of the nuclear football on hand to initiate a launch at any time, you'd have to be extremely quick. So, can anyone in the audience think of a potential game changer to either one of these doctrines? If you said AI, bet your ass. And what if AI can be persuaded one AI of one country to get together with an AI of another country and saying, hey, I don't like them either. So here's, now this is the insanity. So this is as of 2022, a number of warhead inventories, at least the ones that we know about. United States has 5,428, United Kingdom 225, France 290, Israel 90, Pakistan 165, India 160, China 350, North Korea 20, and Russia 5,977. Now, can anyone find any place on this map that right now is what you would call stable? And the other thing that you have to see here as well is the deficiency on China's part. I mean, compared to the United States, no matter how big China's arsenal, war machine is, they can't survive a one-to-one confrontation with the United States, i.e. NATO. But now, since last week, when Russia and China, 2 weeks ago, I did a video on it, announced their pact, China doesn't have to worry about that anymore, because China just joined theirs with Russia. The article continues into the whole Alpha attack submarines. That's why they were invented. They're engineered to avoid detection and run from long periods in enemy waters. This is some wild stuff. So you have the Plan A. It says in 2019, Princeton Science and Global Security Program developed a Plan A simulation to simulate how limited tactical weapons could rapidly spiral into an all-out nuclear assault and leave 91.5 million dead in a matter of hours. Now, this is over on YouTube. Go and look at it. Just type in Plan A and you will see it. What begins with a one-for-one tactical exchange escalates rapidly into counterforce and eventually countervalue, wiping out critical infrastructure to keep your enemy from recovering in the aftermath of the apocalyptic attack. In a matter of hours, most of Europe, the United States, and Russia would be leveled. Nearly 100 million dead immediately in the afternoon or evening. What? So they in this scenario, they've already calculated what time of day the attack takes place. Those who weren't immediately killed by the blast or afflicted with radiation sickness could still be blinded by it from miles away. 35% of a nuclear weapon's energy is released as heat, which can scorch and leave second and third degree burns even miles from the blast. And with our new weapons, I mean, again, we're talking just not these simple atomic bombs, hydrogen bombs. I mean, it goes on. Each impact would vaporize buildings, blowing out windows and ejecting wreckage at 784 miles per hour outward from the blast. An electromagnetic pulse, an EMP, would shut down every car, smartphone, computer, and other unshielded electronic devices for miles. The immediate ramifications would be horrifying. Now, here's the concern about this scenario if what China was doing here was, in fact, spying on the United States and our particular military installation. More critically, those that have nuclear assets. We now know all you would have to do is be about 50 miles up in the atmosphere and detonate an EMP over the United States, and things get bad quickly. The primary target for annihilation, if you find yourself on this map and you live in that city, yeah. This would be the secondary effect from those targets that you just saw here. You only need some strategic hits. This would then lead, again, particularly for the eastern United States, devastating the fallout, the secondary radiation effects. And then, of course, we get into that. So, yeah. Now, here is one. This is worldpopulationreview.com. So in this case, these are the key targets in white of what would be considered high value opportunity targets. Just so happens as well that many of these also have the nuclear assets. This one is the prepping guide. Yes, you know that they have to get in this. So when the UN brought this out last December saying, well, hey, we got to tell you, this began to get heightened for what's being announced here. What's the purpose here? This article, by the way, let me see, when did it, I'm not sure of its exact date, but again, it says a year ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin let the world know about his country's nuclear strength. And everyone is well aware that North Korea has its stash of weapons as well. What countries have nuclear warheads? Now, here's an interesting updated number, because we now look at Russia. It's 6,850 warheads. France, 300. China, still not much happening here. And isn't it odd that if the current world powers go at it with each other, they stand the best opportunity for a land to recover quickly. So, again, the whole scenario, what this is. And here's the weird thing, folks. In the United States, we used to do drills. We used to have a civil defense force. These were citizens that took the roles of, because the military is going to be busy, hopefully keeping our enemies off our U.S. soil. And if they're here, well, you know, we have no more civil defense. As a child, I remember the school exercises. We had a bomb shelter. The neighbors had bomb shelters. We don't have that today. We used to have in every public building were bomb shelter centers. You would see the civil defense. They took them down, closed them down. What arrogance. And you know which country can evacuate underground their entire population within, they say, within 20 minutes? Russia. They prepare for this continuously. Here are the primary targets that have been identified. Is this, you can see this is modern survivalblog.com. You know, I used to live in Denver. Gilbert, all I got to go out there is just say, man, if that's the case, well, you know, put the sunglasses on and yeah. These are the primary targets: New York, DC, Dallas, Fort Worth, Jacksonville, Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, and Honolulu. Regions as well. Southern Jersey coast, the Beaver Valley in Pittsburgh, Brandwood in Illinois, Palo Verde, Arizona, Sequoia, Tennessee, Brown Ferry, Alabama, Calvert Cliffs, Maryland, Byron, Illinois, etc. I need to hurry up here because I still got more to cover. Again, this article written, here's one. This is U.S. nuclear target map, most safe and unsafe areas. Now, I found it remarkable that you've got people out there that, well, if we have a civil defense, if we had such a thing, these kind of things would be important. And of course, choose your city. You kind of look at this and you're going, damn, even in the swamps? What the hell? Why Louisiana? Why? It's because it's where 90% of all of our petrochemical plants are. Take that out. The Houston area is already toast. But yeah, Tennessee is one of those things. I lived in Knoxville. What? I mean, what the hell? Yeah. This is nuts. Another article. This is from Big Think. Nuke Mac shows what a nuclear bomb would do to your city. Nuclear nihilism is an interesting mindset in this. So, yeah, more. And finally, of all things here, this was November 9th, 2022. This is from the Council on Foreign Relations. If Russia goes nuclear, 3 scenarios for the Ukrainian war. Now, I don't know what your opinion is on the Council for Foreign Relations, but say what you will, this is a think tank. It is got its pulse on more things than the average you and I do. And they're looking at this one. Scenario 1, Russia could test nuclear weapons as a warning, to Ukraine and its supporters, demonstrating both its resolve and capability. Action speaks louder than words. So testing a nuclear weapon could drive home Russian Vladimir Putin's past statement that his special military operations in Ukraine is becoming an existential conflict for the Russian state. So the last time Russia had a nuclear test occur was back under the Soviet Union on October 24th, 1990. That's scenario 1. 2, battlefield weapons, rationale. Russia could use nuclear weapons against Ukrainian military or energy infrastructure targets in an attempt to weaken the country's will and damage its military capacity. Now, I'd be curious to see what the council has updated with now that NATO is involved here very heavily. Tactical nuclear weapons have a smaller payload and more precise targeting, which makes them conducive to battlefield use. Russia has about 2,000 tactical nuclear weapons that it could deploy by plane, missile, or ship. It would most likely use the short-range Iskander-M missile system. These weapons have a yield of 1 to 50 kilotons, the largest of which would have a blast radius of about a half a kilometer wider than the bomb the U.S. dropped on Hiroshima, Japan at the end of World War II. One hypothetical, Russia could target the Ukrainian forces in Lusak near the Trieste, I think that's sometime Crimea line, to prevent Russian forces from having to retreat like they did in the Kherson. A nuclear attack could weaken those Ukrainian forces and create an uninhabitable no man's land that would make Ukraine think twice about advancing before or during the winter. Well, they're not going to do it over the winter, but it's damn sure clues that they're looking for something in the summer. Finally, a weapon of terror. Russia's most eschatological opinion is also the least likely, using a strategic nuclear hit. Now, this is all, of course, with Russia and Ukraine. So allow me to get out of here. That's part one. So the scenario has changed. When you factor in such things as AI, you factor in the fact that now you have Finland, Sweden becoming NATO partners. Apparently, NATO is going to admit Ukraine. So I want to look at something as well here. So we've talked about this before. This is the Deagle.com and their projections of what each country would actually experience. As you can see here, this was the forecast for 2025, the country population at 2017 levels, what it would be in 2025, percentages, GDP for both the occurring span of years, the change, etc. So, we just go through here. Australia takes a huge hit. They take a hit of, well, as you can see, almost 35% of their population, which when you look at Australia's population, that is a devastating, basically your economy cannot function with these type of losses of human life. Again, this was a model, and with variables that could be changed and added to, who knows what the new model would look like. We'll never know. Austria, nearly a 30% fall. Bahrain, here's an interesting one. This is again, this is collapsing a country. No way a country can survive with its current infrastructure when you take out 40% of its population. Look at others here, Belgium. Then you get others like Bhutan, they actually see an increase. Bolivia sees an increase. South America, this is into Indonesia. Let's go and look at it here. Let's look at China. China, oddly enough, this is normal for China. In fact, China, their government has recognized that the policy they had with, their custom was that, if you had a daughter, most daughters died outside their villages. Now China regrets that because they got a lot of males and not enough females, and this affects, birth rates. But China does really well in this scenario. You look at it, their GDP grows exponentially. I mean, if the United States could have this kind of a number, look at that. You're basically at 12 and you're going up to 17. That's huge. So you can go here, Cyprus, again, you start seeing these kind of numbers. Denmark, again, these countries can't, their economies can't, the infrastructure can't as well. Let's continue here because we know if you do a detailed analysis, France, if this number was to ever happen again, France as a nation would cease to exist. Well, in its present day form. Germany, this is incredible. I'm going to have Judith on, try to get her in the next 2 weeks. But look at here for Germany. That's a total collapse of the culture, society. You can't maintain. Greece, Ireland, this is collapse. I mean, if this number was to happen, and we have tribe members in Ireland. How y'all doing? Israel. And you look at the GDP. Folks, if your GDP in Ireland is at 221, and I believe that this is in billions, and then in 2025, your GDP drops down to under 25,000. This is beyond a depression. This is Ghostland, the Earth version of it. And Israel, I don't know what to say. I mean, that it basically says here that you're wiping out this region. But then look at their neighbor, Jordan. They're actually increase. Let's continue. Libya, Madagascar, Malta. I want to get to some more of the more spectacular. And I just painted to you a scenario that if this happens in the world, in what's going on here, look at Puerto Rico, nearly 70%. Now, I don't know if this is like, something that causes this all to happen at one time, or if this is a gradual, whatever it is, you're going to run out of places to bury the dead. Russia. This is interesting because in Russia actually does very well in this scenario. I mean, look at this, folks. This is their GDP right here. It doubles. That's prosperity. Their birth rate virtually stays the same. I mean, if you're living in Russia, this is really good news for you. Something going on here. And again, I'm just going to scroll through here because I want to make sure I give enough. It's staggering when you do these numbers. United Kingdom. We have a lot of folks in the United Kingdom. This is probably one of the more dramatic reductions. When you're talking, well, you're all right, 77.1%. And when you have 14.5 million people that die, this is nuts. And look at your GDP. And it's interesting enough on this one that the decrease is so substantial in the area that, I mean, it's a collapse. You can't maintain. United States, there's the number right there. 68.5%. This shows a devastating wipeout of our economy, our society, our culture. We can't maintain. Huge numbers. Yeah. Then you have to ask yourself, why is it that some countries just do more? Someone, by the way, I thought this one was interesting. Here's the Global Reset Survival Guide. Now, isn't it odd that probably when this was written, about 2022, was it? Is that what I saw? Or 2020, had to be written in, I guess, 2019. Who was reading the tea leaves here? I mean, we all heard about this quote unquote, reset globally. Folks, it's happening right now. The United States is in the midst of probably the single largest reset. We're about to go far beyond what the Depression did. The United States dollar is collapsing on the world market. That's what's driving gold prices up. That's what's driving, get ready. Gas is going to be going up about $1 a gallon in the next couple of weeks. And here's the bigger problem. If OPEC says, we're not going to take your greenbacks, America, we want gold, then this brings a whole new scenario into this thing. But again, yeah. And my whole thing about if this is collapsing the way it's doing, and it's not, it is. I mean, if you hold gold, if you hold silver, you're making a killing. And it's only projected to go much higher. And again, I read this today in Barron's that here's the deal. If the OPEC nations, because they got a deal now with China, and if they say no more greenbacks, the United States doesn't have the gold. We're a debtor nation. And just think what we've done. We've shut down all of our potential natural resources. Yes, it gets very interesting quickly. But any case, someone brought this up. I'm not going to go through it again because time's running out on here, but I've done shows on this. This is another one of those documents that you just go, what the hell? But everything in here, we might go over it again just because it's spooky weird how it's so many of these things have come to pass. I mean, it's like someone's reading from the script of a book here, You don't have to deviate in the implementation plan. It's right there. A, B, C, D, follow step 1, 2, 3, 4. And as I'll get out, there are some others. That's why I love becoming supernatural. I mean, I think we can do this. I firmly believe I can do it on the other side. I know I can do it on this side. But anyway, so many other things. The End of the World, again, an interesting read. Why the Apocalypse Meaningfully Replicates Itself in Media, Science, and Culture. Always. It's like you have this whole thing where people are saying, all right, it's time to get on with the game. We've waited long enough. So there you go, folks. I just wanted to lay the case out. Thanks for hitting the like button. If you don't like it, all right, I can dig that too. But yeah. And we'll continue to move on in those things that we can control. I mean, that's a great thing about magic. I mean, magic exists. You take 1,000 years ago and you said, well, hey, try to explain to them what a nuclear weapon is. The person look at you and go, that's magic. They may say that's bad magic if they were intuitive, but if I don't know. So how is everyone in the chat room? This Rick says this has all been planned. It seems to me, by the evidence, I didn't write any of this stuff. These are mainstream sources. It seems like somebody is saying, you think they're going to really realize what's coming down the road here? Yeah. No. They won't pay any attention to this. They want to go and continue into their, whatever the hell they are into. Stream more videos, play more video games. Because, AI loves that. It pacifies our brain. I just read a report today from, I think, the Journal of Modern Medicine. Our IQs, and it's the most dramatic drop off is the United States. The generation in school right now, their IQs have dropped by 10% or more. What? Okay, sure. Yeah, this all makes perfect sense. It's like, okay. Deborah says, Wayne, it doesn't make sense. If the U.S. is already on the downturn, then why go through all the destruction? The Georgia Guidestones were telling us. To answer your question directly, it's a sacrifice. I don't know, probably you wouldn't want most of us to go, that's hideous. We're dealing with hideous creatures here. I mean, this is crazy. But look at everything around us, folks. Everything is crazy now. Everything. And it says, and if China has satellites, why send a balloon? Oh, I have your answer for that, my dear, because you see, the thing with a balloon is that a balloon moves and it had a system that was driving it. Huge technologically, you're sitting right on top of the thing. You're not having to wait for it to get up into the satellite and then be bounced down. No. Just send an old-fashioned balloon with modern-day eavesdropping equipment. I hear circus music in my head. You know what? You know what, Mary? And it's not a 3-ring circus anymore. I mean, all the crazies are in there now. It's like, Christ's sake. I mean, back in the days when Vegas was fun, Circus du Soleil, I mean, went to a number of their plays or their shows. And yeah, this one is like, man, I can't keep up with the who the hell's in here. What else? I'm just reading some of the comments. So there you go, folks. Yeah, we all should be concerned about this, but hey, everybody wants to see what the new season of Yellowstone is, or what's the latest thing on, all the streaming services. Yeah. But virtual reality now has come in, and virtual reality now really takes us away from reality. Yeah. It's like, ay. Gilbert, when you said that circus, yeah, did you ever go there and gamble? I mean, that was a real freak show, really. I mean, it was always kind of disconcerting to me, because you're supposed to be there, you're in a casino, right? But you got freaking people flying above you, and you got other, yeah. It's like, sure. Why not? What's that, Deborah? What? I didn't catch that. Hey, Jargo. Well, it's good to see you in there. So anyway, yeah, Nina, my denial is not an river in Egypt. That's for sure. Yeah, and the way I look at it, what are you going to be afraid of? I mean, if this shit is going to happen, fine. I mean, I'm one individual. I can, again, affect the sphere around me. I don't know who these characters are. I don't. I question if they're even of the human race. It's a abhorrence to me that any human life would be treated as a potential casualty. That's fucked up. It's messed up thinking, man. And we got to get away from that. That's just bad stuff. And I don't know what the answer is. Maybe we ought to send them some, good cannabis, Or better yet, maybe they're in need of some mushroom therapy. Yeah. Maybe maybe, dosing with some LSD might open, other parts of their brain so they can become awaken. I don't know. I'm just putting some things out there. I mean, you have to do the unusual because we have an unusual problem here. I'm just suggesting, Hey, Raven, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah. So, yeah, that's just my attitude. There has to be a better way. And this small little channel, maybe, the message will get out there in its own particular vernacular. But if we can just, it's like the young blood said, come on, everybody, let's get together. Yeah. Jeez. And so we continue on. You can't literally get you down, folks. Listen, you can't. That's what they want. If we can meet fear with laughter, we defeat it. We defeat its purpose. That's why they don't like free thinkers like us. They don't. We change the paradigm. They don't like that. And no matter what kind of craziness they try to, do to us, our little group over here, and we're not just this group, we're collectively, we're into the tens of millions. But we laugh. We laugh in their face. We laugh in the face of their fear. They got that movie coming out, the updated version of the Exodus. And I just laugh when I see that shit. I go, if that's where your head is at, you're fucked up, man. You are really, really messed up. But yeah. All right, everybody. Went over a little bit, but that's okay. Apologize, forgive, and love and gratitude. Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah. But, that's why we have to do this stuff. I mean, we learned enough of the occult here where we can match anything of the occult. You laugh at it. You laugh at it. Hey, Lauren, how are you, my dear? Much love and respect to you too as well. Well, okay, everybody. I am not going to be on tomorrow. Got things I got to do. So I'll see you back on Monday. Lisa, good to see you, my dear. Paul Joe, absolutely nothing missing, nothing broken. So I really do affectionately care for all of you. I mean, yeah, a little bit backed up on the emails, but that's cool. I really do appreciate all of you. I mean, this is a group that has transcended amongst just being casual associates to where it's family, good friends. Yeah. And if they got some kind of shit like that ready for us, it's fine. We'll transcend to the other side. Most of us holding hands, giving everybody a high five, big hug. I mean, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Susie Q, much love right back at you, darling. So keep the sunny side up and, don't let it bring you down. It's only castles burning. Find someone who's turning and you will turn around. All right. Much love, everybody. Keep the music going. That's all I've got to say. All right.